A little girl shot while playing in her yard, and then her mom crashed on the way to the hospital. New at 5, her grandmother's emotional comment after what's going on in Shreveport. And get ready to mask up Shreveport. This week it becomes mandatory, where you'll have to wear them and the possibility of punishment if you don't. And we're tracking storms in our First Alert Weather Center. Meteorologist Greg Roberts says there's more to come throughout the week. KSLA News 12 at 5 starts right now.
KSLA News 12 starts now.
Right now, a 6-year-old girl is recovering after being shot in her own yard, and then her mother crashed on the way to the hospital. KSLA's Jeff Farrell is live on Linwood Avenue in Shreveport, and since 4 o'clock, investigators say they found some evidence.
Well, they sure did, Dominique. It was on the driveway right behind me, about 25 feet, right over my right shoulder, and it was right by the porch, and that's where they found the shell casing on the ground next to the driveway. And the lawn right next to it is where the little girl was standing. She is 6-year-old Jordan Garner. Now, police were called out to the 400 block of West 76th Street about 2:08 p.m. First, it was for reports of 2 vehicles possibly exchanging gunfire. Then came the call about a stray bullet that hit little Jordan in the left hand. A detective can be seen placing a shell casing into a bag from the driveway. And Jordan's mom, Jerica Hamilton, lost control of her car as she tried to rush her daughter to the hospital down the road, crashing into a cemetery. Hamilton reportedly hopped out, grabbed her daughter, flagged down a vehicle, and got to the hospital. Jordan's grandmother has a message for those responsible for the shooting.
Y'all stop, please. You're killing kids and innocent people, please. Please. I don't know what's going on. I just wanted to stop. I lost a brother to gun violence, and I just want this to stop. Not my grandbaby, not children. They innocent. We gotta protect them.
Little Jordan's grandmother, Aisha Madison, you just heard there, says her daughter, Jerica Hamilton, was ready to be checked out at Oxnard LSU Hospital. Now, she told me this about 20 minutes ago. There's no word on when 6-year-old Jordan will be going home at this point. Back here live, we should point out that police and the family are hoping that anyone with information on this case will call Crime Stoppers. Anonymously, if you'd want. There's just the need for help to catch those responsible in this. Reporting live here in the Cedar Grove neighborhood of Shreveport, Jeff Farrell, KSLA News 12.
And now it's official. Shreveport Mayor Adrian Perkins is making it mandatory to wear masks. KSLA News 12's Chandler Watkins was at the announcement late this afternoon. And Chandler, when will it go into effect?
Dom, this mask mandate goes into effect this Wednesday at 5 p.m. Mayor Perkins making it a point to say this isn't about politics, it's about safety. He says this announcement comes as Caddo Parish is nearing 4,000 positive cases. And looking at the data, Mayor Perkins says hospitalizations in our area are rising at an alarming rate and are now nearing the highest they've been since the pandemic started. He says this and more has caused him to make the decision to pass that executive order.
It applies to all businesses that interact with the public, to all customers, with the exception of those with medical conditions that prevent one from wearing a mask. The Shreveport Police Department will be enforcing this mandate, and businesses will be issued documented warnings on their first violation and up to a maximum fine of $500 on their second violation.
Really, there are very few people who cannot wear a mask. I have friends who are asthmatics. I have friends who have cystic fibrosis, who have all kinds of health issues, who work in the hospital and wear these masks 24/7. To put them on for 15 minutes to go into a store, there's no excuse.
Now, we did reach out to Bossier City officials, and at this time there is not a mandate on the table, but Mayor Perkins made it a point to say at this news conference that the Caddo Commission is looking to pass something similar for the entire parish later this week. Live in Shreveport, Chandler Watkins, KSLA News 12.
All right, Chandler, thank you. Louisiana leaders are trying to avoid becoming like these states, Arizona, Texas, Florida, and California, all with the fastest growth rates in the country. The top row, the average number of daily new cases in the last week. Now, the bottom row, daily new cases from just 3 weeks ago. And here's a look outside using our traffic camera at I-20 and Jewella. There were a few showers earlier, but things appear to be drying off out there. But not for long. We're going to check in with meteorologist Grant Roberts with a first look at the weather. Grant.
Yes, good afternoon, Dominique. We've got a few of those showers and storms, but they are definitely winding down. There's not nearly as many as what we had earlier. We still have a flash flood warning that's in effect over near Titus County, getting back toward around Mount Pleasant, Dangerfield. We see some of those showers that are quickly winding down, so that should be expiring by 5:30. Sliding back down over into northwest Louisiana, you can see near Hall Summit, Ringgold, back down toward Coshada. So we have more of those heavier showers, and even stretching all the way down to around Natchitoches and Montgomery, so where we have all of that rain. Temperatures, though, we're still nice and cool compared to what we were without any of the rain. We're mostly in the 80s and in a few places even in the 70s or 79 in Texarkana. Over the next few hours, though, we'll continue to have somewhat low rain chances, but notice they're going to be increasing even after sunset. We have another wave of some showers and storms that are going to be pushing into the Arklatex. I'll be tracking that rain and all the rain that we can expect for the rest of this week coming up in your full forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, Grant, thanks. Right now, at least 4 Office of Motor Vehicle locations are closed across the state. Officials say an OMV employee who worked at several locations in an administrative role tested positive for COVID-19. The Shreveport, Lafayette, Monroe, and Alexandria offices are now closed until further notice. There's a warning from the Food and Drug Administration. Some hand sanitizer products could be hazardous to your health. You'll want to check the label. So the FDA says it's seeing an increase in hand sanitizer products contaminated with potential poisonous methanol, which can be life-threatening if ingested, a toxic if absorbed through the skin. The FDA says to make sure that the product contains ethanol instead, which is safer for topical use, not methanol, so ethanol. We have a list of the products that contain methanol listed on KSLA.com. This week, more COVID-19 testing will continue in the Arklatex. LSU Health Shreveport will have 4 testing sites open at least 4 days this week. Tomorrow and Wednesday at A.B. Palmer Park in Shreveport, Thursday and Friday at Stonewall Baptist Church in Bossier City. You can find more information on our website at KSLA.com. Over the holiday weekend, Shreveport hit a deadly milestone, a fatal 4th of July shooting outside of Dilliard's at Mall St. Vincent, marking the city's 26th homicide of 2020. And get this, half of those killings happening since May. With deadly violence once again on the rise in Shreveport, KSLA Chief Investigative Reporter Stacey Cameron joins us live in the studio. He has the latest on the alleged shooter, who police say shot and killed a 19-year-old in broad daylight outside of the mall. Stacey.
And Dom, Brian Theus, that's the name of the teenager killed on Saturday, and the suspected gunman, he's just 22 years old. Now, here on your screen, you just saw him a minute ago, was Travius Dottie. He's the gunman, allegedly, that Shreveport police say shot Theus during an argument that started inside Dillard's. By the time that deadly violence ended, just outside the menswear entrance to that store, Dottie allegedly stood over Theus and fired several rounds into the 19-year-old's body. A police report I just got my hands on late this afternoon says the shooting happened at 2:45 in the afternoon, and the original crime listed was first-degree murder. But Dottie now faces a single charge of second-degree murder. His bond sits at $350,000. Now, after walking through Dillard's this morning and checking out the parking lot, I didn't see any additional security at the mall or inside, but another one of our KSLA News 12 partners walked through this afternoon and did see police walking through quite frequently. I did call corporate headquarters of Dillard's asking if they plan any additional safety measures in wake of Saturday's fatal shooting. I have not heard back from those folks. Now, as Dom mentioned at the top of this report, Shreveport's witnessed 26 homicides so far this year, 25 in the first 6 months of 2020, a higher total than any year going back as far as 2015. Dom?
All right, thank you, Stacy. Something's got to change. All right, tragic news out of Georgia. The mother of an 8-year-old girl shot to death in Atlanta, saying her child should be alive right now. That shooting happened near the burned-out Wendy's, where a police officer shot Rayshard Brooks. Police say a friend was driving with the Turners when an armed group blocked the vehicle's path. They say someone repeatedly shot into that vehicle, hitting the little girl. She later died at the hospital. Socoria was in the car with her mom when that shooting happened.
She would have been on TikTok dancing in her phone. Just got finished eating. We understand the frustration of Rayshard Brooks. We understand. We ain't got nothing to do with that. We innocent. We didn't mean no harm. My baby didn't mean no harm.
A group of sleep-in activists at the Wendy's where Rayshard Brooks was killed reaffirms that no one from their group was involved in her shooting death. Right now, there's a $10,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. Country Music Hall of Famer Charlie Daniels has died at the age of 83. His publicist says he died of a stroke earlier today at a Tennessee hospital. He was best known for The Devil Went Down to Georgia and its talking blues style and searing fiddle riff. The folktale earned him a Grammy for Best Country Vocal Performance. Daniels was a big supporter of the military, making regular appearances for American troops at times in war zones. Today, President Donald Trump set off another debate, this time over NASCAR and Confederate imagery, after tweeting earlier that NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace should apologize after an FBI investigation concluded that a noose found in his team's garage last month was not a hate crime. He said that in NASCAR's flag decision hurt ratings. This latest controversy comes after protesters targeted several statues over the weekend, including a Christopher Columbus statue in Baltimore, Maryland, and a statue honoring Frederick Douglass in Rochester, New York, was also vandalized over the weekend.
Is this some kind of retaliation because of the national fervor over Confederate monuments right now?
And this afternoon, Bubba Wallace tweeted a message aimed at the next generation saying, always deal with the hate being thrown at you with love, end quote. Also, NASCAR says it, quote, continues to stand tall with Bubba.
Well, Tuesday is going to be another wet day with plenty of showers and storms. I'll be tracking the latest coming up after the break.
Still ahead, we take a look at how recent times are taking an emotional toll on many Black Americans and how those in need can find help. This story and more after the break. Stay with us.
News 12's Doug Warner